Bit 16, you've never seen a review like this. Weird old games you cannot tame, this world that you miss. SNES Man is the champion, he is 16-bit. SNES Man is the champion, he is 16-bit.
Hello, my name is SNES Man. Today we're going to talk about your friendly neighborhood spider. Get excited, people, this is the first time I've talked about a Spider-Man game in any detail. True, I talked about Spider-Man in Arcade's Revenge a while back, but I didn't go into the nitty-gritty. I enjoyed Arcade's Revenge as a little kid, but now I realize that it's pretty cruddy. Guess who made it? LJN. This should set off some red lights for anyone who knows about that company. They made 80% of the bad games on the NES. You know, the ones the AVGN always whines about. So, when everyone told me, play Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage, I was wary to say the least. I mean, it has that nasty puke stain of an LJN rainbow on its cover. How could it be good? And Maximum Carnage just struck me as a pretty ridiculous title. But I was pleasantly surprised by this game. It's a solid beat-em-up and it deserves a SNES Man review. Let's get down to gaming. Here's level 1. You start out the game as good old Spider-Man in familiar territory, the streets of New York. Nothing in the first level is too surprising. You just move to the right and fight all the brightly dressed 90s thugs that happen to be waiting around ruining your evening stroll. The bosses are two Girl Scouts on steroids and they're so annoying. Stupid hair attack. Since when can a ponytail knock over a full-grown man? Well, this game is trying to be like a comic book, so I'm not allowed to complain about its realism. Notice how it says pow and pock whenever you hit an enemy? I thought that was awesome, but then again I'm a nerd and I love Adam West-ish cornball entertainment. The only time the comic style annoys me is in the cutscenes. Maybe if you're a big fan of the 90s graphic novels you'll understand what's going on, but I don't. Some of these scenes just leave me baffled. Why is this half-naked Wonder Woman fondling Spider-Man? And who's the creepy stalker in the cloak? So many questions unanswered. All I know is that most of this game is Spider-Man running around on adventures while a bunch of other superheroes follow him around and either help him or beat him up for no reason. Carnage is the main villain, I think, but I'm not even sure of that. Since I obviously don't know what I'm talking about regarding the story, let's talk about the action. Spider-Man is pretty fun to control. Like Double Dragon or TMNT4, the game gives you a wide set of moves to choose from. You have jump kicks, throws, and a nice set of web moves. These work by pressing A or X. A side grabs enemies and pulls you to them so you can pummel them. Reminds me of Scorpion. Get over here! Tapping A shoots a web that ties people up. And best of all, holding A forms an impenetrable web shield, an infallible force of divine power. No, just kidding. It's not that great. It only blocks basic punches. But it's the thought that counts. LJN actually cared enough to give us a variety of special moves. They could have made this game a lot worse, but they actually put a little dose of ambition. And the coolest part of the game, of course, is the ability to play as Venom, the scary, muscular, bluish-black Spider-Man with fangs. Whenever it gives you a choice between him and scrawny little Peter Parker, pick him. He has strong punches, he's bigger, and he's just cooler looking. Your mind should already be made up. The only downside is that he's slightly slower than Spider-Man. I didn't mind this because whenever I tried jumping around and being agile as Spider-Man, some hooligan would come up and punch me from behind. In this game, you're better off standing than jumping. Just use your web to bring the enemies to you and don't try to be a ballerina. The difficulty is pretty high in Maximum Carnage. There's no difficulty setting, no passwords, and you only get one continue. So, by simple addition, you only get 6 lives. There are a bunch of hidden lives and extra continues sprinkled throughout the game, but they're not always easy to find. This is one of those old games that really encourages level memorization. If you can find all the goodies, you have a good shot at beating the game. Otherwise, you're screwed. The most frustrating levels are the climbing ones. It's not the controls that ruin things, it's easy to swing around on the web. No, the hard part is all the stuff that's falling down on you. Like level 2, where this supervillain lady is shooting yellow lightning bolts down on you and you have to dodge them as you climb. They automatically shoot in whatever direction you're going, even if it's diagonal, so they're a huge pain. Come on, game. I just want to be a friendly spider and climb up the wall. Why do you have to piss on me with your weird electric urine? Stop it! Things to make it better. Cut out the climbing levels, or at least make them more fair. Provide a password system, and give out more continues from the start. Simplify the cutscenes, streamlining the story into a single coherent goal. Put in a 2-player mode. Wouldn't that be cool? One person is Spider-Man, one person is Venom. The title, Spider-Man and Venom, is practically begging for that. Despite these gripes I have, Spider-Man and Venom is a surprisingly decent game. It's certainly not the best beat-em-up I've ever played, but it is good for Super Nintendo Spider-Man standards. Compared to Arcade's Revenge, this one is actually ambitious. It's a fun game to play for a few hours when you need to let your brain cool down from the stress of the real world. On my scale, it scores a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys liked my review. I'll leave you guys with a question. What do you think of Spider-Man games? Do you have a favorite? Maybe one that you loathe entirely? I'm actually kind of curious. Leave a comment and we can get a nerdy Spidey conversation going. My name's SNES Man, and I'll talk to you all again sometime soon.